Hi, my name is Owen from Cervus-UK, and today I'm making a short film about upgrading my Sauer 202. I'm going to change my old scope, and I'm going to remove and replace my old sound moderator. First of all, I'm going to remove the bolt. On the Sauer there's a small button here that when you press it up, releases the bolt. Take the bolt out. I'm just going to look down, barrel's completely clear. I'm also going to replace my sound moderator, which is an old T8. It's had about 8 years of professional use, and its life's now over. And I'm going to replace that with the new stainless steel North Star, and I've oiled the outside of the steel, and then I've shrunk wrap onto it, some cable insulation, and this gives it a takes the tinny noise off it when you're stalking through woodland and you might just catch it on a branch or something like that. I'm going to screw that back on there, but first of all, because I'm going to have to re-zero it because I'm changing my scope, I'm going to put in the borescope or collimator. I just push that in and just tighten it up in there. And now I'm going to just check by looking through it where that is. Slight adjustment. Okay, that's fine. Okay, we're going to take a reference now of what the existing scope is set at, and when I fit the new scope to it, we're going to dial it in to the same location. That should get us on the paper. So now I'm removing the screws from the existing scope. What you need to do here is keep a reference of where each screw went into each ring. So you're putting the same screw back into the same ring. So having removed the pins and kept the pins to each one of the rings, we're now going to remove the scope. The scope rings that I'm using and bases are April mounts. These are swing off mounts, and I use these so that I can change scopes depending on where I'm going to be shooting. So this is for my deer stalking, but if I want to put a lower powered scope on for shooting wild boar when I'm on the continent, I can do that as well. You'll see as we've taken the mounts off, there's quite a bit of residue there that's built up over the years, where water's gone underneath and just oxidised on the metal. And I'm now going to take off the rings. Now the rings come 3/4 of the way round the scope, so you just have to hold them and prise them open slightly so you're not scratching your actual scope. One off, and again the same as the screws, remember which way it went onto the scope ring mount and which one went to which mount. Giving it a thorough clean. This scope will be being sent back to Germany to be serviced. So, scope rings are off, cleaned and removed. And this is the scope I'm going to fit. It's a brand new LEICA. It's the ERI 3-12 B50. Fantastic new scope. It's got illuminated reticle. And the reticle on this one is the 4A. It's the same as the scope I've just taken off. So now I'm going to fit the rings onto the scope. And one of the little tips that gunsmiths do is if you put a piece of kitchen roll around the scope and then prise the rings open, pushing down till it clips on. This stops you scratching your new scope, and then if you work the ring round, the kitchen towel just comes out and you haven't scratched your scope at all. I've also lightly lubricated the tube of the scope, and now this April mounts are ready to go back onto the bases. So now we need to replace all the pins back into the scope rings, going back into the exactly same place as they did with the previous scope. Just put these in loosely till they're all in position and the scope's still able to be moved within the rings. So tighten the screws up till they're just pinched tight and then take them back half a turn. Align your scope and then get down and look through your scope. Finally happy that it's all level, I tighten the screws each side equally, pulling the ring down onto the base with equal pressure, so we don't get a big gap one side and a little gap the other. Everything should be uniform, everything square and all pulled down nice and tightly. Okay, so we've put the pins back in and we've just pinched it up. That's left us with the scope loose. Now I'm just going to check for eye relief. So to get down and look through my scope. Can move it backwards or forwards, but this is exactly where I want it. This is so I've got a nice clear image. There's no dark patches or rings, and that's the distance. It's generally about 3 or 4 fingers. I like to put mine. Okay, I'll tighten these up now. As you tighten these up, you need to be very careful not to over tighten them so you don't compress your ring. So for guys who haven't got perhaps a torque wrench, use the Allen key. Start the Allen key off using the long shaft with the thin end. Tighten that right up, and then once you can get it as tight as that, just put it into that and give it one slight turn. So now just to finally tighten them up, and it's in and pinch, in and pinch. Must just say don't over tighten it, else you will crimp your scope. Okay, we're happy with the scope now and the eye relief, and we've tightened up all the rings. So now we've got to zero this scope in onto the collimator. So first of all, I'm going to check that the scope is set to the same magnification as my old scope, which on this one is 8 power. On the new Leicas, these adjust. This is a 3 to 12. Lovely scope. And as I said, set it at 8. I'm then going to take off the scope caps. This is a 1 centimetre adjustment at 100 metres, which is what my range is. What I love about this new Leica is this lockable scope turret. On a lot of scopes, when you put them in and outside of your gun case, you can move them slightly. But it's got a really nice little locking ring there, and that fixes that so it doesn't move at all. From my existing scope, looking onto the collimator, I knew that on the graph grid square there, that my scope was zeroed 2 squares down and 1.5 to the left. So what I'm now going to do is get down on my scope, a new mounted scope, look onto it and clip them down. And across until it's in exactly the same position. This will save me time on the range and should be within a few inches of where it was zeroed before. Okay, now we're happy with that. I'm going to remove the collimator and screw in the tightening screw, pulling that out. Then my new North Star on. Finding the thread. I've wipe the barrel down and grease the thread at the end as well. Nice and tight. Okay, I'm going to put the bolt back in. Before I do that, get down and look through the bore again, just to make sure nothing's come off the collimator, and insert the barrel, bolt back in. Okay, I'm ready to go to the target, set the target up and put a few practice shots through. So I'm going to start off with a target set at 25 metres. I'm using a Hornady target, which is a peelable one. Stick that down there. Although the target looks black, as soon as the bullet hits it, it scores it as a white shot, and it's got a 1/2 inch grid on it, so I can work out what I need to adjust against my scope. Okay, let's see how it goes. Okay, we've set up the target, we're on the range, and we're now going to go live. So first of all, I'm going to put my hearing protection on. I'm going to load 3 rounds into my clip because I want to get a group. I'm shooting at 25 metres. It should be okay with the collimer 8 on it, but just in case, my error that I'm going to have to adjust will be minimal at 25 metres. It's magnified at 100 metres. So I've set up my targets, one at 25 and you'll see one at 100. Calibre of my 202 is a 308 and I'm using a Hornady round, an SST 150 grain. This is a 5 cartridge clip, and I'm just going to load it with 3. Okay, so I'm going to try and zero this at 25 metres. I've got myself nice and comfortable, set myself up on the bench, cleared my shooting bench of everything apart from my ammo and my binos. So I'm going to get myself down, just check how comfortable it is before putting a round in. I can adjust that on here. Okay, I'm happy with that. Chamber the round, put it on safe. Right then, off for my safety. I've got a trigger. I'm going to take my first shot. I'm going to do a group of 3 shots. Okay, just going to go down and have a look at what we've done. Okay, that's at 25 metres, and you can see we're on the paper. This was my point of aim, top right hand side, and you can see I'm 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inches out to the right. Excellent group. I wouldn't expect anything less from my Hornady rounds. Now I'm going to take it back and I'm going to go out to 100 metres and see what we can get with that. Okay, I've moved my target out to 100 metres now, reloaded my clip with another 3 rounds, and I've readjusted my scope to where I think it's going to be. So I'm going to try some more shots now just to see exactly where I am and readjust it onto a 0. Right then, I'm very happy with that. 3 shots, bottom left hand corner, 100 metres. 1 centimetre to the right, so I need to go back and click it 1 centimetre to the left. Okay, I'm happy with my 0 now on the range. Just want to click it back one to the left. Put the scope back on my Leica. And then get the locking ring and turn it into a lock position. All ready to go out in the field.